Item 1, apologies for absence.
We have apologies, Mr Mayor, from Councillors E. Sanders, L. Roberts and A. Lewis.
Thank you very much. Item 2, declarations of interest. If you know at this stage of any undeclared interest that you now need to declare, will you please do so? Councillor Sanders.
Mr Mayor, I think it's well known, but for the sake of the record, I am a trustee of Tavistock Heritage Trust.
Thank you.
So it'll be personal, not pecuniary.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Then if I might remind you that if you become aware of any interest as we go through the agenda, please make that known as soon as you're aware yourself. Item 3, minutes of council meetings. A, to confirm the minutes of the meeting held on Tuesday the 26th of June. Are there any errors or omissions? Starting page 1. Councillor Crawford.
Could I say that I did give verbal apologies for my absence from that meeting, but I noted they're not recorded.
Thank you. Page 2.
Sorry, sir, just to say, Councillor Crawford's apologies are listed. It's the first apology.
Oh, yes, they are.
34.
Item 34.
Sorry, I do apologise.
Okay. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. And page 7. Okay. You're all happy? I'll sign that in a little while. Okay, thank you. 3B, matters arising. Are there any matters arising not otherwise covered in the agenda today? Okay, thank you. We're obviously determined to get that glass of wine. Items requiring a decision. Number 4, General Finance. A, schedules of payments. Does anybody have any questions they wish to ask? And B, budget monitoring report. Do you have any questions? Council is invited to consider and endorse the monthly accounts. Do I have a proposal? Thank you, Councillor Sanders. Seconder, Councillor Whitcomb. All in favour? Thank you. Item 5, Budget and Policy Committee. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I rise to present the minutes of the Budget and Policy Committee held on Monday the 16th of July here in the Council Chamber. Item 56, election of chairman. 57, election of vice chairman. 58, apologies for absence. 59, confirmation of members. 60, declarations of interest. 61, council funding and capital programme. 62, council grants policy. 63, office staffing arrangements. 64, project management opportunities. If I can bring to your notice that paragraph 3 of that should say public realm complementary initiatives rather than public realm programme. So there is an amendment to make there, please. 65, Guildhall Gateway Centre. 66, Capital Works update. And I beg to... Sorry.
Oh, Councillor Sanders.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. 66C. I don't think our auditors are going to be too impressed to see a minute which reads a tender price in the region of. The tender price is whatever the tender price is. And I sincerely hope is not in the regional, because either we did a tendering exercise and we got a tender price back, or we did not. I would suggest that we find a way of adjusting that minute in some way or another.
We will put the full figure in as adjusted.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I beg to move.
Thank you. We will be returning to some items in Budget and Policy in Part 2. Which brings us to item 6, Development, Management and Licensing Committee. Councillor Hutton.
Good evening. I'm presenting two meetings that we've had the last 3 weeks. The first one was Development, Management and Licensing Committee on the 10th of July. And the minutes that you should all have, I'm going to 47, apologies for absence, 48, confirmation of minutes, 49, declarations of interest, 50, Dartmoor National Park, 51, town planning issues, 52, general correspondence, 53, urgent business brought forward by the chairman, 54, planning decisions and applications, and 55, details of the next meeting. And the second meeting I would like to present was last night's meeting, which you have got minutes of, which have just arrived today, as the meeting was only yesterday. Nothing particularly contentious in the meeting yesterday, so I'd like to just present meeting last night. 71 apologies for absence, 72 confirmation of minutes, 73 declarations of interest, 74 Dartmoor National Park, 75 town planning issues, 76 general correspondence, 77 urgent business. 78 was the planning decisions and application, and 79 to suggest that the next meeting of the Management Committee will be on Tuesday the 21st of August. I wish to move.
Thank you. Council is invited to receive and consider these minutes. Propose that. Thank you. And second?
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor, all in favour? Thank you very much. Okay, items circulated for information only, starting with 8.1, the General Manager's report. Oh, 7, I'm sorry, thank you. Item 7. Councillor Fay has expressed a wish to join the Development, Management and Licensing Committee. Is that correct, Councillor Fay? Thank you. So we're invited to consider that request. Do I have a proposer? Lots of proposers. Councillor Hutton. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Venning. And all in favour? Welcome aboard, Councillor Fay. Right, try again. Item 8, service reports. Number 1, General Manager. Do you have any questions for the General Manager? General Manager, do you wish to make any comments? No. Do you really not have any questions for him? Yes, Councillor Benny.
Is there any possible chance that we could get a bigger sign down there for, because it says 14 and under, and I was sending a load of older people off the playing area yesterday with the children. You know, there's a lot of grown-ups coming, not grown-ups, but 18, 19, 20-year-old people on the swings and all that. I don't know if you can put a bigger sign in and saying it's for youngsters.
I presume we mean down the meadows?
Yeah, the meadows, yeah.
There are 2 signs down there, which are reasonably large signs, which do identify, or one of the lines identifies the age range. We can look at signage anyhow, because we need to update it a little bit with some of the details around contact details and stuff like that. So I'm happy to review the signage.
Any other questions? No? In which case, 8.2, Works Department. Do you have any questions for the General Manager? Do you want to know what LEV testing is? Or LOLER inspection?
Yes. would like to know what the latter is. LOLER.
General Manager.
LOLER is lifting operations and lifting equipment regulations, which relates to cherry pickers, harnesses, 6 monthly inspections.
So now you know. Are there any other questions? Gosh. 8.3, Town Hall Manager's Report. Tavistock Pannier Market Report. Councillor Hutton.
I would just like to comment on that the opening day of Butcher's Hall, when we had the food festival, was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful to see Tavistock Centre was absolutely full of people. People were spending money, and it really was a joy to see. So well done to everybody who was involved in it.
Yes, I fully endorse those comments. It was great. Yes, thank you. If you could relay our appreciation to everyone involved, Wayne, please. Thank you. Okay, so finance and other matters to receive for information. Report of the Assistant to the Town Clerk. Nothing to add? Do we have any questions for the Assistant to the Town Clerk, please? Deputy Mayor.
Sorry, it's not to the Assistant to the Town Clerk, but I see we've got training here and for councillors. Was there going to be some training organised, Councillor Sheldon, under the Links committees?
Yes, there will be. I'll see Councillor Lamb and ask him what's going on. I'll report to the next council meeting, or beforehand, by email.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, because I find that's very convenient to attend because it's local. You don't have to go to Ivybridge or Exeter for it. So and they're always of very good quality and very interesting. So thank you.
Oh, Councillor Sanders, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just on the East End stores being used as a welfare facility, that works isn't programmed to go on for very long, so why are we requesting our letting agent to cease marketing it? Surely we carry on marketing it, and if somebody wants it, it's available from X date. You know, you can market things for 3 years sometimes and get no one, so I don't see the point of taking it off the market, frankly. It's an operational issue, I guess, but I would strongly suggest we just leave it. It just means that the occupation date will have to coincide with the completion of the BNU.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I think just to clarify, he was in the process of marketing it with a view to seeking to let it any time sooner rather than later. So we did have some expressions of interest from people who were looking to go in now. Since we've had the pre-contract meeting with the contractors, it's become evident that it is something which will materially benefit their use. So this is about marketing with a view to access now, and Councillor Sanders' point is quite right. Yes, we will be looking to, but we're looking to let it after the works in November.
Thank you. 9B refers to 3 sets of minutes from the Business Improvement District, which on reading are really quite repetitive. And I wondered whether members have any comments to make. Councillor Williamson, as our representative on the bid, have you any comments to make?
No, it's very much. Do you want to stand?
Please.
It's a revolving agenda, so they move it forward on each meeting. The next meeting is tomorrow night. I will be attending. It will be my second meeting of bid. I think they're moving on now to plan Dickensian, and members will recall that the previous mayor expressed his concerns about Dickensian and the emergency planning, for want of a term, for that event. So I fully expect that that will be a singularly most important topic tomorrow. I'll report back at the next meeting, and if councillors want to talk to me about it before I go, then please do.
Thank you. That was a very major issue last year, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I remember we were very concerned that they didn't really seem to have any safety and emergency planning. If I could ask the General Manager where we stand on that at the moment, because I think there has been progress.
Yeah, I've had several meetings with the bid chair and also with the current bid manager. I'm now in sight of a first draft for an emergency plan and health and safety plan, traffic management plan for the event, which has been produced by an external consultant, which I'm going to be reviewing this week and then providing feedback. But it's significant progress from where we were.
Thank you very much. Are there any other comments on the bid? In which case, I propose suspending the meeting for a few moments in order to welcome Sergeant Penny Channings and to invite you, Penny, if you have anything to say to us, to share your thoughts with Council.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I apologise. It's been a busy day. I probably won't be able to stay very long, really, but I did want to, I spoke to Carl, said that I wanted to come along to a town council meeting. My name is Penny Channing. I'm the neighbourhood sergeant, neighbourhood team leader for West Devon. Been in post for about 9 months now. I'm stationed, start off at Oakhampton most days because I live over that way, but I obviously cover the whole of West Devon. My team are the sort of neighbourhood officers, and we look at sort of problem solving and safeguarding and ongoing long-term issues as opposed to the immediate response to incidents that happen, but we obviously back up our colleagues and do that sort of work as well. So just wanted to sort of let you see my face and say, you know, if you need to get in touch with me, email's probably the easiest way. My number is 14298, if anybody wants to know. Put a 1 in front of that, and it's at dc.police.uk, and you can email me about any issues. So Mark Sloman's my boss, and then there are various PCs and PCSOs that I supervise.
Thank you very much. Would you be happy to take any questions?
Yeah, sure, yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any questions for Sergeant Channing? Councillor Rick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Lately I've been finding bottles with the little hole in them, which obviously they're using drugs.
Right.
And that's in the
plastic ones?
Yes, plastic bottles. I do pick up plastic bottles and take them home to recycle. When I saw that, I wouldn't pick it up.
No. Have they got something else in them then as well? Some sort of substance?
No, I hadn't seen any substance, but they were obviously used, they were burnt, you know,
right,
around the edge. And I know there's been ones found on the football ground.
Yes, we're trying to sort of do some active patrols there because that's been reported to me about the sort of littering and smoking potentially and possible drug use. And obviously that's a big concern as well. So what the officers are all directed in their downtime to try and go there, but they're obviously very busy.
I just thought I'd tell you.
Okay, thank you.
Obviously, after the death of Hannah, everybody in town was talking about drugs and children. Is there a big problem in Tavistock?
I don't think it's any bigger than anywhere else of this sort of size of town, really. I think what's perhaps shocked us a bit is the amount of digital use to access drugs that is perhaps being used by young people, and that they probably know how to do it better than a lot of adults. So we are sort of really focusing on that sort of education and targeting areas, trying to sort of target parents to sort of make sure that they're up to speed with the knowledge that their children seem to have. But it's a bit of it is a worry.
Is there anything we in the town council should be doing? Because we were all quite shocked. Yeah. Our community was when it happened, but it was. Can we do anything to? I
think we do need to work together really on how we can educate people to be aware of the dangers of the internet that their children are at risk of, and that's the biggest thing. And encouraging people to talk to their children from a very young age you know, under secondary school age, when they're still listening to their parents about the dangers. So, yeah, and hopefully then it will be slightly more ingrained. But, you know, it's still a small percentage. It's a 5% of the children, 10% of the children that are doing something that is really dangerous, and then there will be others, and children take risks, and that's all about growing up, isn't it? And unfortunately, the risks of drugs are worse than some of the risks that maybe we took when we were younger. So.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to ask Penny a question. I'm going to have to hang my head in shame at the same time as I do it, because she and I had a conversation about a project she's been working on. I lost track of this, unfortunately, because I wasn't able to be at the PCC meeting on the 14th of June. But I don't know if you... we had a discussion that she's looking to seeking some funding from the OPCC's Connectivity Innovation Fund and the Office of the Police and Crime Commissioner. Sorry. It is, she's submitted an application, this was back in June, for the full amount of £3,000 to fund an initiative where the local police can engage informally with young people at various youth clubs in West Devon. These are mainly in the Tavistock area, including Tavistock, Beer Alston, Princeton and Horrobridge. My question to Penny is, were you successful, or are you still waiting for a locality form from me, or
no,
has the whole thing died? Or
sadly, I wasn't successful, although I haven't had an official confirmation, which is, I have gone back to the OPCC and said nobody's actually told me, but I know colleagues who did apply in other areas who were successful. They weren't particularly... Fortunately, I know it was before Hannah died, but they didn't seem to think that connecting with young people who are already in a youth club was that beneficial, so it wasn't successful, unfortunately.
Mr. Mayor, if I could have a supplementary then, is there anything this council can do with its grant funding coming up in whatever time it is, September, October or thereabouts, is it? Is there any way in which this council, I can commit some locality funding to it? I think you said the total cost was about 3,000.
Well, that was the OPCC were offering up to 3,000 that we could apply for. So we always go for the most that you can possibly get. It was for Oakhampton as well, but most of the money would have come to Tavistock because Oakhampton Youth Club are quite well funded this year. So they weren't feeling a pinch, but I know Tavistock were feeling a bit of a pinch, and you've got lots of rural youth clubs here as well. Princetown Youth Club were quite keen and said they could probably match fund for the money we were giving them, so I don't see why we can't still try and do that here. But the time's gone by a little bit in that now the Tavistock Youth Club have sort of set up what they're doing, and to try and set up more projects this summer might be a bit too late, so it may be a case that we do it for next year.
Mr. Mayor, this is probably something we could take outside of the meeting, but I just wondered if maybe now that it's come up we can register that perhaps you could apply for a grant through our normal system, and I can deal with the locality budget and various other bits and pieces. I don't know, it's probably not... I just wanted to raise it whilst we had Penny present, see if we can encourage an application.
I think it's entirely appropriate. I think all of us around the table here want to be able to try and help in some way or another. Perhaps many of us are feeling bound to they can't help out there. But that might be a way we could. In which case, I think we should invite you to submit an application for a grant.
Great.
If it is granted, you wouldn't actually receive the money until the beginning of the next financial year.
So that would be great then, and we'll tie in with planning it for next summer. Yeah, okay, brilliant. Thank you. I thought you were ignoring me as well, Philip.
In the interest of self-preservation, I wasn't. I overlooked it after the Police and Crime Commission's meeting. I didn't hear the result because I wasn't at the meeting, and it just slipped out of my register. My apologies.
Yes, please. Yes, could you just repeat your contact details?
Yeah,
because
sure.
I had occasion to try and contact the Tavistock office.
Right.
Because it was very specific to Tavistock, and I just struggled to get through to it.
That's okay. For me directly would be 14298 at dc.police.uk.
At
dc.police.uk, and then Tavistock would be Tavistock, which is a great long one now, at Devon and Cornwall .pnn.police.uk. pnn.police.uk.
Possibly the contact details could be left with our clerk.
They're actually on your agenda under the Tavistock Matters. Your email address is there.
Lovely. That's all right.
In a different form.
One of them is PN, one is
Yeah, it's a quicker one, just a shorter email address that they brought in. Because I'm called Penelope Channing, so it gets ridiculously long if I try telling people my email address.
Yeah. Is it possible to get through on a direct telephone line?
Well, trouble is that shift working and people aren't even in there all the time. We don't have a direct number that we give out, so all our numbers are Plymouth numbers as well, so it's all a bit odd. Yeah. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. I emailed Penny the other day about issues to do with Crowndale after being contacted by Councillor Lewis, and within a morning we'd had quite a few email exchanges between us and Councillor Lewis, and things had moved on considerably, so I'd like to say thank you for that. And I know that Councillor Lewis was very grateful for the assistance and support. But we felt that you had definitely listened to us in a very timely manner, so thank you for that, Penny.
It's hot in here, isn't it?
It's a hot house. Hot house.
Thank you very much indeed.
Okay.
I do know everybody else was
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. I will try to try and get somebody to come along whenever we can. Okay, thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, members, we'll resume our meeting. Very appropriately, the next item is line C, which is to receive the notes from the meeting with Tavistock Matters on the 20th of June. And they include a number of contact emails addresses. This occasion, are there any comments you wish to make?
Not at this stage, no.
Thank you. And of course we now have nominated 3 members to attend Tavistock Matters meetings on future occasions. Southern Link. Any questions or comments? The Deputy Mayor and I both attended this meeting. The only thing I picked up really was that the Communities Together Fund is the Towns and Parishes Fund renamed, and with some slight changes of emphasis and focus. We understood that the Devon County Council guidance notes had been issued to all parish clerks. I think we have some uncertainty about whether you have them or not. Is that correct?
I will do a double check, Mr. Mayor.
But I think one of the messages that came across to me loud and clear was that the whole point of the Communities Together Fund is that any grant made under it has to be to the benefit of more than one parish. So the idea is it is parishes working together. So if we were to apply for a grant, presumably we would have to do it in such a way that a neighbouring parish also benefited. I think that is how it's supposed to work, isn't it?
That's what we've done before, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Right, so 9E, Tavistock Townscape Heritage Initiative Project. There are 2 sets of minutes, from the 1st of May and the 4th of July. Town Clerk, any comments to make?
Just in relation, if I may, to the 4th of July, sir, on the second page, which refers to the Guildhall car park, and Tavistock Town Council being requested to agree the basis of a final scheme consistent with the public realm strategy, etc. Just to say, that will be coming forward, but it'll come forward after we've completed the works to the pannier market surround, because what that will do is give us a baseline for what is required in terms of this kind of surfacing activity. So when we've got that and we've learnt the lessons from that, we'll come forward and we will then have a session with members in order that you can determine within the parameters of the public realm strategy how best we can proceed with the Guildhall car park as part of the Townscape Heritage Scheme. Thank you.
Right, so 9F Tavistock Guildhall Gateway Centre Project Steering Group. And again, if I might call on the Town Clerk for any comments or observations.
I think these are very much for information. The key document you've got is the one we're coming on to later on the agenda in relation to the service level agreement and Lisa.
Thank you. Does anybody wish to ask any questions on this item at the moment, bearing in mind that we'll be returning to it in part 2? Thank you. The same really applies to 14.1. Please note that the white papers are in the public realm. The orange ones will be considered in part 2. So restricting comments at the moment to the white sheets. Are there any comments or observations? Thank you. Okay, so where are we now? Done that. We've mentioned the upcoming election. That is tomorrow.
Thursday.
Thursday. What day is it? So. Thank you. Yeah. You could tell me anything sometimes, I tell you. So. H. Any update from or questions to council representatives? Does anybody wish to say anything? Okay, if I could just say then that in my role as chairman of the Tavistock Twinning Association, we have just received a group of 11 folk from Cella. I think it's been a very successful visit. They particularly enjoyed a tour of the Guildhall led by Simon Dell yesterday, and they found that fascinating. And we held a civic reception not in the town hall but in Butcher's Hall, which they also greatly enjoyed. Other activities included going to the visitor centre at Burrator for a barbecue. They went to Dartmouth and visited Greenway House, and I think all in all it was a very successful visit. I was slightly concerned that their coordinator, who incidentally is employed by the Cella Council, and as part of her duties looks after the twinning arrangement with us, is retiring in August. And at the moment it's a little unclear who their coordinator is going to be. I have a feeling she'll find herself continuing in a voluntary capacity as opposed to a paid capacity. Cella is twinned with no fewer than 10 other towns, which is quite remarkable considering we manage our 2. Well, I think some of the twinnings are fairly dormant, to be honest. I don't think a lot happens with some of them. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Back in, I think it must have been 2007, I had the fortune to go to Cella, and it was an occasion to celebrate all the twinning, and we had people there from Tulsa and all across the world, and it was a very, very vibrant occasion, very good. They did draw down a lot of their funding from Europe, which we don't seem to have got the hang of in this country from doing, so a lot of it was funded by the European Union at the time. Is the person retiring, is that Gabby Link?
Yes.
She's been a good friend of this council for a long time, and many of the former mayors have met her, so if she is retiring, I think it would be rather nice if we wrote to her and wished her a happy retirement from her paid job, even if we are going to see her again as a volunteer. Thank you.
I have wished her a happy retirement verbally, and I'm more than happy to write on behalf of the council.
Please.
Do we have any other feedback from other representatives? Nothing? Deputy Mayor?
I think I might have mentioned this before, but Kingdom House, as you know, has been successful in obtaining the funding for the first stage of dealing with the envelope of the building, the listed building over behind us there. That work will start in November this year, I think, and we are in the process. We're never going to sit there doing nothing. We're actually moving forward to the next stage and looking for some suitable funding for that, and a funding application has gone in to move things forward. So we've got one thing well under the way, and we're looking at the next stage now. So thank you. Thank you, the Town Council, for their support, which we gave them a grant in the very early days, and that has led to much more money and bigger things. So thank you.
That's very good news. In which case, item 10, I have no communications to pass on to you. And 11, I have no urgent matters to raise with you. Can we have a proposal to move to part 2? Thank you very much.